Hi guys, today's video will be a short one, hopefully, and I just want to tear down 3 SSD SATA drives. Reason why I'm doing that, because these 2 I'm going to use for my NAS server that I'm making, where I will show you the video, and this one I had here. So I thought it would be interesting to see what's the difference inside of the hardware. This has nothing to do here with performance or with read-write speeds, etc. I'm not interested in that. I just want to show you and myself, of course, what's inside these things and if there are even differences. Or do they all use one controller chip? I don't know, one or more flash memories and some other support chips like cache, RAM, etc. But these 2 do not have a cache. This one has. So I will open all 3 of them. We will compare it, and I will show you a little bit more details about the electronics or the chips used inside. So let's start with this one. This is just a cheap 128 gigabyte SATA drive that comes from Amazon. I think I paid not even 15 euros for that. This one is from Amazon too. It's interesting name, Yucun. Yeah. Anyway, it's a 2 terabyte SSD drive. Yeah, I will use 2 of them in my SATA, my NAS, what I'm making. And the last one is this Samsung Evo. And this is a 250 megabyte drive. It's an older one. I had it for quite a while. I already loosened the screws. And this is the last one that we will check. So let's begin with this one. Okay, we have to use the spudger for that. This is not screwed. I just loosened it a little bit already. Don't stop myself. Okay, so, and this is what we have inside. Let's have a look. First of all, we have the SSD controller chip. That's a microsilicon brand chip. It's an SM2259 XT2G. We'll show you the datasheet in a jiffy after that. But for now, for the beginning, the XT version cannot address a dynamic RAM for caching. So this is just, as we know, without cache, without nothing. Then we have 2, flash chips that I checked it before. I cannot find any information about those. And what else? Let's check what we have on the back side. Just a few decoupling capacitors and nothing else. Yeah, and of course some spare places for a few other flash chips. So this is how it looks. This is all what is inside. I heard and I read quite a few times in the internet that these cheap drives, and even mostly this brand here, are using repurposed flash chips. To be honest, I don't have any problems with that. As long as it works, why not? Why to waste parts? And on the other side, I know that at least if it's repurposed and it comes from a legit, from wherever, whatever other legit electronics, at least there are no fakes or some rejects that did not meet the specifications. But anyway, this is no thrills, nothing, just 128 gigabyte flash drive SSD that I'm going to use as the system drive for my network attached storage. So, nothing much more to say, just have a look again from the controller. It is just there's not much information about this controller. It is, as for many of the special chips, they just give you a review or a preview, let's just say, and a very, very short information. But this is what I have, and I will show it to you later. So let's continue with the second one. Let's put this away, bye-bye. So now we have the Yucun. Again, this is an, I think, 90 euros drive from Amazon. And exactly for that, I read that they're using repurposed chips. Let's open it. These are quite easy to open. It's already open. It's an R580. And here we have at least the PCB screwed down. So let's remove the screws. Not very interesting what I'm doing now, but it's only 3 screws. They're easily removed, and ta-ta-ta-ta! Does this remind you anything? Look at this PCB and this PCB. Find the 5 differences. To be honest, I don't think you will find too many differences here. For me, it looks, except that here is a DC converter using a switched mode power supply, and here we have probably a linear one, or not. No, it's a DC too, probably. This is the inductor. But otherwise, let me zoom a little bit out. They look the same. We have the same chip, exactly the same chip, controller chip. We have again flash ICs that I didn't find any information about, and nothing on the back. Interesting, huh? So this is what's inside this Yucun solid state drive. And to be honest, I'm quite sure that this arrangement here, what you see, is in many low cost or even not that low cost drives. Yeah? This chip is almost everywhere. I will show you later. Now, let's continue with the Samsung. Okay, as I said, I removed, or at least I loosened a little bit the screws from the Samsung already. Be easier to open, so you don't have to watch me just unscrew screws. Where's the other one here? And let's take the cover away. And immediately we see a totally different arrangement. To be honest, a much nicer one. Look at that. That's a flash drive, a flash chip, sorry, and a chip that you can find informations on the internet. You have a data sheet. That's the 256 megabyte, that's 256 cache dynamic RAM, and that's the controller itself. That's an ARM Cortex. We will see a little bit more information about that in a jiffy. So let's see if there is anything else on the back. And yes, it is. The second chip. It's a flash RAM. It's a flash chip. And there are two support chips here, 3. But I cannot find any information. This ATP something, I don't know what it is. Probably the one or the other is a regulator, but I didn't get any information about that. But already we see a big difference here on how this thing is built. And you already see why you get what you pay, yeah? But okay, this thing has a cache RAM. The other two ones, the smaller ones, do not have a cache RAM. And I will show you later that this chip comes in 2 flavors. The XD flavor at the end, that means there's no support for dynamic RAM. And the one without XD that can support the dynamic RAM. And now that we have all 3, let's go a little bit further down. All 3 here in one picture. Let me show you a few informations and datasheets. So, let's start with the Intenso. It's a cheap brand. I made it as a PDF to be easier for me to show it to you. This is how it looks outside. These are the internals. We have here the 2 flash ICs and the controller, the microsilicon controller. Then again a little bit more detail on the flash chip, but the search about this string here didn't brought anything up anyway. And then we have here the microsilicon chip itself, and it is an SM225-9XT2G. I'm not sure, but I think there is, yeah, this is how it looks. So this was the Intenso one, 15 euros shipped Amazon. Then let's continue to the Yucun. Yeah, by the way, this is how I will have them mounted in my NAS. This is already the carrier for my NAS, what I will make. Here we have the back of this Yucun, and again a very similar, very similar arrangement as I showed you before. Again, the same chip, the same microsilicon chip itself, SM225-9 59XD. That means the XD means that it cannot support a cache chip, a RAM cache chip. The one that is without the XD can support it. And again, no really information about these chips, what I found, what are used here. Okay, some more details on the silicon microchip. Now I want to show you the datasheet about the silicon motion chip. This is how it looks. And you have two flavors, one with XD and one without XD. It seems like a decent chip. I read positive information about it. Yeah, I cannot verify it. Yeah, but it is used in many low cost and quite well-known brands too. But look what happens now. Well, no, not yet. Here is the explanation where the difference is between the one with the XD and the other one without the XD. And the most interesting one is that the one without the XD supports a DDR3 DRAM in DRAM as for caching, and the other one with XD does not support it. This is the biggest interface. This is the biggest difference. And you see, this is a difference on the PGA balls too. Yeah, but look at that. This here is an example of microsilicon on how to build an SSD drive with their chip. Does it remind you anything? Does it remind you that perhaps? This thing? Or does it remind you this? It's exactly the same. So look at that. There are almost no differences. So for me, the Yucun and the Intenso are more or less, rather more than less, just the design, the application, using the application node of design node from Silicon Motion. That's interesting in my opinion. So let's have a look now how a Kingston KC600 256 gigabyte chip looks with the same microsilicon controller. By the way guys, if you like what you see, if you find it interesting, my videos, please like and subscribe and press the notification button to get information on when I get new videos. In the last times I'm not doing all too many videos. The problem is, yeah, a little bit too much work, and the health is not 100% anyway, but both is getting better, so I hope in the future we'll get more of those. Anyway, the information is from Tech Power Up. It's not from my side. This is a Kingston, and look how it looks inside. Again, the two flash chips that are covered with a label and the controller. The difference on this controller is that it has no XD. Do we see it better somewhere? Okay, this is the RAM chip that is used for caching. Again, more information. And here you have the controller itself. Exactly the same, but without the XD. That means this controller is quite, as I said before, widely used. But yeah, either in the cheaper versions without a cache, or the better versions with a cache like this Kingston KC600. Then let's see again about the Samsung. Just a little bit more, a few more pictures to show you. This is how it looks inside again. This is not my website. This is the website of TechUp, or I don't know what it's called. Tech Power Up, yeah. Very good website with a lot of information on SSDs, and many other PC stuff. And many of them are already torn down and opened, and with more information. And here you have more infos about this SSD itself. Well, this is what I wanted to show you. Short video. For me, the most interesting thing is that probably most of the low range up to middle range will have a similar arrangement like that, and many of them use this microsilicon chip. Of course, Samsung has its own chips. Opala, that's something else. And where's the chip? Here it is. No, that's a Kingston. Let's go to the Samsung back. Yeah, and this is the controller chip from the Samsung. They're using all from in-house products, and it's normal. They have it. Why they shouldn't use it? And again, this is the Samsung chip. You get information about that, and that's it. So let's continue. Well, that's all for now. Guys, make me a Christmas gift, subscribe, and give me a thumbs up if you like what you see. This was just a short video that wasn't planned at all. I just had these SSDs in front of me, and I said, let's take a look at how they look inside, where the difference are, and if there are any difference. And you see, there are different. The better ones, the more expensive ones, faster ones, and in between, this is the lower range, these two, and the Kingston would be here somewhere, because at least it has a cache RAM. But at the end, most of the middle range to low range are using this silicon micron chip. That was it. I spoke enough. I hope it was a little bit interesting for you. I wish you a Merry Christmas. No. Anyway, please guys, stay safe. Have a festive season. See you next time. Cheers.